guys, it's Haley and welcome to another bookish video. Today we're going to be getting into all of my best book recommendations for spooky season, for Halloween. If you're looking for something to read this fall that's a little bit spooky, I have a whole range of recommendations in this video. Thrillers, horror, stuff that's kind of literary and weird girl fiction, ranging from stuff that is really scary and extreme to really light, fluffy, and fun. The common thread between them all is that they're all just great reads for October, Halloween, spooky season, all that good stuff, which is my favorite time of year. So these are a few of my favorite books. I have a couple iconic ones in here, and we're going to be going over my top 12 recommendations in this video, but there are 4 more book recommendations over on Patreon. It's available for all tiers right now as we speak. I do this for all of my sit down recommendation / discussion videos where there's just a little bit of an extended cut over on Patreon, even for my lowest tiers. So go check it out if you haven't already. My Patreon is always linked down below under the link that says join my book club, because the middle tier of my Patreon is for my book club, but you can also join the lowest tier and the highest tier at that link as well. And before we get into the book recs, I will just go ahead and take my magic mind with you all this morning because I haven't taken it yet today. Here they are, these cute little green guys. And these are the best energy boosting, focus boosting productivity shots I've tried. They taste like matcha green juice, really good, really standard. Let's take it together. Literally perf. Obviously you can take these just as a shot like I just did. I've also mixed these into overnight oats. I've made matcha lattes with them. They're pretty versatile and they are just the perfect boost to get you through your day. I don't like relying on caffeine from coffee because it makes me super jittery, and Magic Mind just helps me lock in. Obviously they have ingredients that boost productivity like matcha, ashwagandha, L-theanine, things like that for energy and focus, but I also find that they help boost my mood and lower my stress throughout the day. So if you are looking for a way to lower your stress and boost your productivity, why don't you give Magic Mind a shot? Get it? Give it a shot. And you can get a nice little discount if you do by using my code HALEYH20. You can get 20% off your Magic Mind subscription, or just a singular purchase. If you want to try it out, the 20% off discount code will work for that as well. I'm glad I got to take my Magic Mind with you all. Thank you so much to Magic Mind for sponsoring this video. And now let's go ahead and get into the book recs. I have been itching to recommend y'all this first book for almost a year now. I read this spooky season last year and it was just living in the back of my mind. Like, next year, this is gonna be my top rec for Halloween, and now it's Halloween time, so I can tell you guys to read Mayfly by CJ Lead. This is a horror book that kind of like borders on extreme horror, not in a problematic way, not in an incel type of way, just in a very intense and gory way, which I absolutely love. In this book, we are following a female serial killer who takes out men just as a little hobby on the side. And her day job, she plays the ice princess at a certain theme park, but under the cover of night, she is a crazy, sadistic, cannibalistic killer. This is definitely like weird girl lit fic, but in a more horror-centric, gory lane, which is perfect for me. And our main character is also absolutely obsessed with Halloween. She listens to what she calls Halloween music all year long, and I absolutely love that. That's why I wanted to recommend this one for Halloween specifically, because there are so many references to spooky season, and our main character is a Halloween girly like me and hopefully like you as well. It has a really interesting arc throughout the story. There's a hockey romance subplot. It is completely unhinged. There were moments in this book where she was really giving like not like other girls, quirky, weird, pick me kind of vibes, and I thought that I was gonna hate her, but then she just kept redeeming herself at every turn, and I ended up giving the book a 4.5 out of 5 stars at the end. It is not an all-time favorite. It didn't reach my 5-star threshold, but that's me being really, really picky because I absolutely loved it, and if that sounds like something you would like, I bet you will enjoy it too. Next up, we have a thriller. This is one that I recommended earlier this year, and I bookmarked it in my mind to talk about it during fall as well. So I want to remind you about No One Needs to Know by Lindsay Cameron. This is a thriller that follows an app called Urban Myth. And Urban Myth is basically like the whisper app where people in this certain neighborhood can just post anonymous things, but it's zoned to a certain zip code, so it's more like Yik Yak than Whisper. Hopefully y'all know these weird apps that I'm referencing here, but everyone in the Upper East Side neighborhood, they are getting into like back to school, fall time. We go over like homecoming and Halloween throughout the course of this book, and this app is plaguing the entire neighborhood of teens and parents. All of their secrets are being released on the app, and this massive leak happens where you can see what email sent out what confession or what secret, and utter hell breaks loose. It leads to murder. This one is so fun. It's so twisty. It's one of my favorite thrillers that I've read this year so far, and the like back to school vibes that make it really just perfect for this time of year. Next up, we have something a little bit weirder. If you like a dark fantasy or fairy tale retelling, this is perfect for you. It is How to Be Eaten by Maria Adelman. And in this book, we're following group therapy sessions with a group of, I think, 5 or 6 women, and they all have this horrific trauma that they've lived through. They're trying to work through it in group together. None of them really see eye to eye, but by the end they gain this really beautiful understanding for each other. But it is not just a feel-good story. It gets really dark and completely unhinged along the way. Every single girl in this group is basically an iconic fairy tale character, and we're going through a retelling of her story, calling out the like dark traumatic elements that women face even in folklore. So for example, we have like Red Riding Hood, we have Gretel from Hansel and Gretel, we have a like Disney princess type of character, and a few more. And throughout the course of the book, we are just learning more about them. It's more character driven than plot driven, but it kind of gives that like spooky season, dark fantasy, fairy tale kind of feel. I don't know why I think like folklore or like fairy tale stories feel very fall, but if you're more of a fantasy reader and you want to like edge your way in, not edge, I guess edge, let's go with it. Edge your way into weird girl lit fic, this is where I would recommend you start. Next up, we are jumping right back into horror with I Can See Your Lies by Izzy Lee. This is a really tiny, quick horror novella, and it gives me Maxine vibes. It's like a little bit Maxine coded because of the Hollywood glamour. It's a little bit Uzumaki coded because of the spiraliness of it all. Basically, we are following this woman who is trying to find out more about what happened to her mother. Her mother was this old Hollywood starlet, and she's following in her footsteps, trying to be an actress. She's also on the run from her abusive ex-partner, and she's trying to parent her daughter, who we come to find out has the same affliction as our main character and her mother, where they see either like popping bubbles, sludge, or spirals appearing in black on someone's face whenever they're telling a lie. So there's this very weird special skill that's been passed throughout the generations, and much more trauma has been passed throughout the generations in this family as well. We are unraveling all of that along with the mystery of her mother's disappearance throughout the course of this book. It is so unexpected but so easy to read. It was just a wild ride to get through. I read it during my 24-hour readathon that I had this year. I vlogged my 24-hour readathon. I'll link it up above and down below if you want to see the full reading vlog of everything that I read in that 24 hours and get full in-depth thoughts on I Can See Your Lies, but just know it's really good. It's a nice, quick horror novella. I love a novella for the fall time, especially if you're reading something on Halloween night. This is perfect. Another one that I just like can't not recommend for Halloween time is Dark Harvest by Norman Partridge. This is definitely like more traditional, and I definitely didn't like it as much as I liked the last novella that I spoke about, but it is very like a classic Halloween literature. We are following this town, and every year the like pumpkin head crazy killer comes out on Halloween, and he makes his way around basically just trying to kill people. And one lucky boy each year slays, I think his name is like Sawtooth something. Sawtooth Jack the October Boy. Like they call him all this dumb bullshit, but it's basically this pumpkin head killer, and one boy in the town has to slay him each year. Last year during Happy Halloween, we watched the film adaptation of this, which was actually pretty good. I kind of liked it better than the book. So this is kind of like a dual recommendation. If you want to read the classic thing for spooky season, sure, fine. Everybody, I feel like, needs to give it one read, but also recommend you watch the adaptation as well. Next up, we have Small Town Monsters by Diana Rodriguez Wallach. And this is about two kids, a boy and a girl, who are growing up in their small town, and they're like, this place sucks. I've got to get out of here. But it becomes so much more than that when they start to notice their parents and friends acting a little bit weird, and they're wondering if there's something sinister happening in their small town. This book is so atmospheric. It kind of keeps you on your toes the entire time around what is happening in this town with this moody, gothic almost atmosphere. You don't know if it's ghosty, possession type of vibes, true crime, like underground killer type of vibes, or something completely out of left field. It's really simple, easy to read, just like the writing that flows and flows and flows. It almost reads like YA in that way, but I really enjoyed it, especially for spooky season. Next up, okay, Boba, if you want to stop sneezing. Oh, she wants to say hello. Come on up, queen. Boba intermission, halfway through, Boba wants to say hello. She's having a hard time. Her ex-father just moved out the house, so she is just being a little baby, confused, wondering what's happening. Girl, we're happy about this. We're happy about this. You need to get with the program, queen. My baby. Next up, I want to recommend Mother Thing by Ainsley Hogarth. I read this one a couple years ago, and I really enjoyed it. This is more plot structured, weird girl lit fic. I know I keep using that term. I've just seen it a lot on the internet, so I'm trying to let y'all know like the vibe. If you like Night Bitch, Bunny, all that stuff, but maybe it was a little too conceptual for you, maybe you would like this one. It has definitely more of a plot structure to it than those. And we are basically following a woman with a mother-in-law from hell who is haunting her from beyond the grave. There is beautiful feminist commentary in here around what it's like to be a daughter-in-law, to be a mother-in-law, to be a mother, to be a daughter, to be basically any female role in the family. The burden of that role is very much explored in here through the idea of possession and the paranormal. The ghosty vibes are perfect for Halloween and spooky season, and it also has that like dash of weirdness, is it real, is it not, that I love. It's the classic plot line of like, are women crazy, or is what they go through just really fucking horrifying? It feels really validating, but it's also nice spooky vibes. Can't go wrong. Next up, I have a short story collection rec for you guys. This is my favorite short story collection I've ever read by far. I love reading short stories during the fall time. I just feel like, I don't know, it reminds me of reading like scary stories to tell in the dark on the playground as a kid. Like, I feel like once the first breeze was in the air, I was like, who's bringing out the scary stories to tell in the dark? Like, let me flip to the page with the hook and the weird like dead lady bride. Oh my God, I loved looking at those pages. I still have those on my shelves. Those are essential to my lore. So we love a spooky little short collection, and this is my favorite. If you're gonna read a collection, I recommend please read this one, Bad Dolls by Rachel Harrison. You know Rachel Harrison is my favorite author of all time. I'm obsessed with her. Every book she's ever written, she just gets me. It's like she's in my mind, y'all. I can't describe it. And this is a collection of 4 stories about women going through things that women go through, but with a masterful horror metaphor. I sobbed reading this book. Every single story is a banger. They all hit in different ways. If you are like mid-20s or like early 30s, you are gonna resonate with this book so deeply. It talks about things like attachment, weddings, self-destruction, imposter syndrome, female friendships, just all of those kind of things through little horror metaphors like haunted 8-balls and culty underground rituals. So perfect, so much fun, so spooky, but also so deeply emotional and meaningful. Love it. Next up, we have a couple books that are my favorites of the year and also perfect for this time of year. I'm so glad I read them early in the season so I could recommend them to you guys this year. First up, we have How to Make a Horror Movie and Survive by Craig DeLuey. And I literally kissed this book. I think I did this when I was filming my wrap up. I literally kissed the book because I'm obsessed with it. I am obsessed with this book. It's so good. It is the perfect balance between like quirky, fun, plot-driven, gory horror, and also like more conceptual, metaphorical horror. They're married in the best way through this concept of filming a horror movie with a camera that had captured a tragedy that happened on a set of a horror movie years and years ago. So the director has a theory that it's going to have this special effect to it and make his piece de resistance defining film of his career just better than he could ever imagine. We are following him and his camera, and we are following the final girl of his film, who is Sally Priest, this up-and-coming scream queen, and she has all of the commentary I could ever need. This is for horror lovers, this is for Halloween lovers, this is for you. If you view my channel and we have similar tastes, you're going to love this. This is one of my favorite books of the year and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. Very, very similar vibes, but different. They serve different purposes. We have Horror Movie by Paul Tremblay. This one is also a 5-star favorite of this year. Basically, if you write something that is pandering to a horror movie fan, like, I'm gonna like it. Actually, that's not true because I didn't love a few like horror movie books that came out this year. This one and the last one are definitely the standouts of all of the like horror movie coded books. Well, and Night Film by Marisha Pessl, but I've talked about that one to death. Y'all know I love that one. Horror Movie is basically we are following these 3 different mediums. Okay, we're following the script of a horror movie. We're following the experience of filming that horror movie, which happened in the 90s, and then those archives of footage were lost to the world. And then we're following the big budget reboot that's happening in present day. And all of these different iterations of the film are overlapping, becoming trippy. We don't know what's film, what's reality, what is completely delusion. We're just losing ourselves in the narrative of this film. We are blurring the lines between what is art and what is life. Oh my god, if you like the song Gods and Monsters by Lana Del Rey, life imitates art, you have to read this. It's so weird, it's so trippy. You feel like you're losing yourself in space and time as you're reading. It's so good. If you're gonna read it along with the audio because the audio is phenomenal. If you are watching this and you know me personally and you're like, oh my god, like Hailey, I want to read that, please, I'm not even kidding, text me right now, come to my house, I will give you my login to my Libro FM and you can listen along with the book and you can come pick up this book. I'm like on a mission to get everyone in my life to read this book with the audio. I think it will make people into horror readers if you're not already. So good. Also niche, also weird, also trippy. You might not like it if you like this very like structured kind of narrative. This is not that. I would recommend you pick up the Craig DeLuey if you want that. But this trippy, weird, Love it. I have another thriller rec for y'all because of course I do. And that is The Vacancy in Room 10 by Serafina Nova Glass. This is another atmospheric, twisty thriller that will get ya in the mood for spooky season. We are following two women who are connected to the disappearance of a man that occurred at this motel turned apartment building. It's giving like seedy, sketchy, gross vibes. And we're trying to figure out how these two women played into the disappearance of this man and what ultimately happened to him. And then crazy shit is happening along the course of the book. It is such a thriller, okay? We are not just working on the mystery solving here. We are following thrilling events that are happening over the course of this narrative. It's intense, it's gory, it's gross, it's super twisty, and it just has like a spooky season atmosphere. This is another one that feels like almost like back to school, like late August, early September. If you live in a place where it's still hot outside, but it's fall, like I live in Texas, this will hit for you because it's the same kind of atmosphere in this book, but it also has that like more fall atmospheric, like creepy vibe. So I think it's great for this time of year. This is a 5-star thriller. If you are looking for something fast-paced to stay up all night and read, this is for you. And the last recommendation that I have for you in this video is my favorite book of the year and one of my new favorite books of all time. This book is actually so meaningful to me. I can't even explain to you how this book has helped me think and conceptualize, and it's also just a shit ton of fun and like really amazing horror writing. I'm hyping this book up so much because I want you all to read it, okay? I want you to take this very seriously. I want you to internalize this. You need to read this book. And of course, it's by Rachel Harrison, my queen. It's her new release from this year, So Thirsty. Hello, can we just appreciate this gorgina cover? And this book is kind of like the Craig DeLuey book I was talking about earlier. The perfect blend of like, it's fun, it's vibes, it's horror, but also it's meaningful, it's a metaphor, it all is something very serious to me. So we're following these two women who are best friends and they're going on a little birthday getaway cabin in the woods situation. One of them is like super introverted people pleaser queen. The other one is like chaotic bisexual energy. So it's basically like me and Aspen. If you know Aspen from Aspen's Archive, I'm gonna link her channel. She's amazing. You have to subscribe to her. They're literally us, okay? And they're both kind of like unhappy in their relationships with men. So they're like, you know what? We're just gonna be little girlies together at this cabin in the woods. And then they end up going to this person's house that they meet at a bar. And it turns out it's a vampire orgy. And the horror pops off from there. It's absolutely insane. So meaningful about relationships, about female friendship, about discovering and knowing yourself. Even though you're different from other people, you can like learn things about yourself through other people and what it means to be independent but connected through friendship and what it means to value being in a relationship, not being alone but being independent. Oh my god, this is the most relevant book to my life I've literally ever read at a singular moment in time. I'm not even religious like that, but when I read this book, I was like, God, that sounds crazy, but I'm not even kidding. I was reading this book, I'm sobbing, and I'm sitting there, God, did you send me this book? Like, I'm not even kidding. It sounds so dramatic, but this is like the best thing I've ever read, okay? I got feelings reading this that I got when I was reading Pretty Girls, and I named my whole fucking book club after Pretty Girls. So this is like the new Pretty Girls, okay? I'm obsessed. Obviously, it's bisexual vampires, perfect for Halloween, no notes. So those are all the books that I have to recommend for you this Halloween season, except it's not really all the books because there are 4 more recs on Patreon, so if you want those, go visit the link down below. I hope you guys got a few good recs for your TBR this spooky season in this video. If you did, go ahead and give this video a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Also, go down below and check out Magic Mind. Don't forget to get 20% off of your purchase with code HaileyH20. And of course, don't forget to go to therapy and read a book this week. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!